A big thanks to Lexar for sponsoring this week's video.
Morning everybody, fantastic to see you all again. So I am at a place called Crome Hill, which is not too far away from where I live, which is important, and I've come to try and get some of the fog that we've had over the last few days, and I think we might have too much fog, but we'll see. But it looks pretty spectacular. If it clears a little bit, it could be really amazing. I've been here a few times, but I've never been here in fog. So it's a little bit of a walk and then see what I can get. And I need to get my coffee, otherwise that will be bad news. So, coffee in. Head torch, probably a must. There we go. And we are good.
It's hard to know, but no one comes close. An undiscovered landscape filled with hope.
Okay, so it looks like the mist may just be lifting a little bit. Now the problem is that we're going to be walking into the mist, and that's not good, because obviously the higher we go, the mistier it's going to be. So I'm just crossing my fingers that the sun will come out and burn off some of the mist. But if you're not out, if you don't actually get out, then you've no chance. And it got to admit, it was so difficult getting out of bed this morning. But just like every time I do it, I much prefer getting out and being on the mountain. And I always remember those 2 hours on the mountain, and I never remember those extra 2 hours in bed. Right, onward. So I've just got with me one camera and one lens, which is actually doing the video as well. And one of the things that I'm going to do this year is try and do more photography with less gear. I want to try and show that you don't need all the gear that I've got. I've got so many lenses, too many lenses, and what I want to do is just pare that down a little bit and show that you can get amazing shots just with minimal gear. So I've got my 24 to 200mm lens, and if I've got some long shots that I need to shoot, that should be fantastic. I've just found this little stream which looks fantastic, which I might shoot on the way back, but for now we're going to do the ascent bit.
That first time, and I have kept you in my mind.
So this hill's a tiny hill, but a very steep hill, but not far now, so just keep going, it'll be worth it.
To us, it's like a constant rush, an undiscovered landscape filled with hope.
I think the fog might be clearing a little bit. This is so special. What I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on just taking photos of the form of the sort of mountainside. There's not a lot of light, so it's all about form and maybe a little bit of texture, but mostly form. And the form of this tree looks amazing, and because we've got fog, we can sort of separate things really easily. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's still not sunrise yet, so I'm still crossing my fingers that we'll still get some light as well. So one of the main reasons that I want to take less gear, as well as getting a bit of a lighter backpack and helping my back a bit, is I just want to concentrate as much as I can this year on observing more and shooting less. I say the same thing all the time, and how important it is to just observe what's around you. And I think just by taking less gear, it means that I've got less decisions to make about my gear. And hopefully that's going to help me just find better compositions, because I'm not deciding, shall I shoot long, shall I shoot wide. However, I've got my 24 to 200, so that probably doesn't add up, does it? But anyway, you get the idea, and hopefully it is going to help me. I'm not going to be changing lenses all the time. I'm going to decide, maybe one day I'll go out with my 24 to 70, maybe one day I'll just go out with my 70 to 200, maybe I'll just go out with the prime lens. But what I'm going to focus on is observing and not worry too much about the gear. Right, there's another bit of hill here that I didn't realise was there, so I'm only about halfway up. Okay, I have got to a point where there's a tree here which looks really good. There's sort of a wall leading into it, and you can just see a little bit of recession of the ridge that I just walked up in the background there. So what I've tried to do is I've got the ridge sort of going down there, and then the wall is just coming in from the bottom left hand side of the frame. Now what I'm being careful about is the wall at the bottom here. I just want to make sure it's not coming directly from the corner. It can look a bit sort of obvious if you put a diagonal in coming from the corner. So what I try to do is, if I've got a nice leading diagonal, I have it coming in just a little bit away from the corner, so either up the side or along the bottom, and that can help just create something that looks a little bit different. Now the fog's clearing a little bit. Oh, so this could be good now, and there's a tree down there that's just revealing itself, which just adds to the composition. So this could be really good. Right, I'm going to concentrate on the photo, and the next photo you see will be this one. So I've just found a really simple composition here as I'm walking a little bit further up the hill, and it's just with the erosion here of where people have walked on the path. I think it creates quite a nice sort of pattern, and when there's fog like this and things are quite sort of flat, then adding in a bit of texture, repeating pattern, and having something that's sharper in the foreground can help to create depth in the image. So by having the sharp, in focus, less foggy bit in the foreground here, and then the more sort of foggy bit that's a lighter black in the background, then I'm trying to create depth in the image. And then the other thing that works really well is that I've just gone onto the side of the path, and by going to the side of the path it creates a nice diagonal. So this diagonal sort of runs through the frame in front of the tree, and what that means is that I then connect this diagonal with the diagonal underneath the tree, and those two diagonals together work really, really well. And it's a technique that you can use. If you can have parallel diagonals within your image, then you can help the viewer jump from one part of the image into the other. And again, that helps to add depth to the image. So all those elements, I think, create something that's quite interesting. What I want though is the fog just to lift just a tiny amount, and that will just reveal a little bit of a hint of the hill in the background. Well, I've waited around for quite a while, and I've got to say, I don't think this fog's going to clear. It's not even fog, I think we're just in the cloud. And yeah, so I think I'm going to call it a day, which is a shame. Now, what was really interesting, I was just a little bit higher, and I had to retake some shots because my lens had totally frozen. So it's really cold, and the moisture in the air is just obviously hitting the cold lens, and it had frozen over. So I've got like a even more foggy look of the foggy scene. So that'll be interesting. Having said that, now I'm walking here, I can see a little bit of maybe blue sky up there, but you know when you're in fog and you feel like you're just seeing things? I don't know. Anyway, let's get back and have a look at the photos. It's 2 days later now, and as you can see, I'm in the woodland walking Pebbles. I don't know where she's gone actually, but whilst I'm in the woodlands, I want to let you know about my new book, Woodlands. It's now available for pre-order. There's a link in the description. All pre-orders get their name in the back of the book, and it's just, I'm so pleased with it. It's just such a great collection of images that I'm really proud of. So I really appreciate it. If you do buy it, I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. Okay, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about fog and luminosity levels again, sort of following on from last week's video really, and how important it is to use things like fog for depth in your image. So when I was on the mountain, there was a little bit too much fog actually, because I wanted a little bit less just to get that mountain going into the background, and that would help to create a sort of route through the image and take the viewer on a journey through almost 3D view of that scene. But when you're in woodland, you can't have enough fog. Fog's brilliant because you've got lots of trees and you want to separate them all. You can see all these trees behind me now. They're all compact together because I'm on an overcast day. It's really flat, boring light. However, what you can do in light like this is not worry too much about depth. So if you try and pick out things that don't have a lot of depth, then that's again a really good way of using depth in a sort of inverse way, if you see what I mean. So there's a tree right up there, you can probably see it just behind me. And I think that'll make a really good subject for an overcast day in woodland. So I'm going to shoot that with my long lens, my 24-200 lens actually again, and it's probably around about 150mm. I'll show you how to shoot that, and I think it'll turn out really good. So yeah, I'm going to shoot that, find pebbles, and then it's home time. So this is around about 24mm, and if I just zoom in, you can see that tree there looks pretty good at around about probably 100mm, something like that. So I've now framed that up a little bit better, and you can see that I've got a reasonably nice shot on what is a fairly poor day to shoot. It's flat cloud, there's no rain, there's no real atmosphere around. So what I've done is I've just gone a little bit longer, I've picked out detail, and I've just not tried to create too much depth in the image. Really what I'm trying to do is almost create a portrait of this tree with a fairly blank canvas as a background. And that has worked pretty well. I think, you know, it's not going to be a portfolio shot, but I'm quite pleased with that shot. So have a look out for those, and yeah, I'm sure that you'll be able to find something, and it'll mean that you can go out and shoot woodland in all sorts of different conditions. Okay, before I just talk about this set of trees here, which I really, really like, I just want to thank the sponsor of this week's video, which is Lexar. And Lexar make amazing CF Express and 2000X SD cards, which are super fast. I've got them in my little handy little wallet here. Link in description to this, by the way. It's really useful. But these Lexar professional cards are really good if you want fast write speeds, and also they're made with durability in mind, which is perfect for landscape photographers. So there's a link in the description. Go and check them out, and thanks to Lexar for sponsoring this week's video. Okay, what I want to do is talk about this composition. This is a set of two trees that are sort of intertwined that I pass all the time when I'm walking with pebbles, and I really, really like them. But I think this is an idea of a composition that I don't think will work unless there's a little bit of fog or maybe some wetter weather just to create a little bit of atmosphere. But I'll take a photo and I can show you what I mean. But really, I think it needs that depth just to bring out the fact that one of the branches is coming closer to the frame. Also, there's quite a lot of trees in the background, so it gets a bit messy. I don't think it's a really bad shot without any fog, but it could be amazing with that fog. And that's what often fog does. By creating that depth, it creates something super spectacular. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this week's video, and if you have liked it, give it a thumbs up, because that massively helps me and the YouTube algorithm to help my video. And if you're not subscribed, then consider subscribing. Okay, until next Sunday, bye. Pebbles!